Hello, welcome to MzansiOz Diary. My name is Connie. If you're new here, you're very much welcome. So today we're going to move on to talk about this threat from President-elect Donald Trump. So recently, the President-elect Donald Trump threatened to impose about 100% tariff on BRICS nation, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and new members like Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, and UAE. So if the threat is that if they develop an alternative currency to US dollar, so there could be a significant repercussion according to Donald Trump. That is, they will see 100% tariff. So I'm going to play a video right now of the finance minister of South Africa. So he doesn't know what Donald Trump is talking about. There is no BRICS. They're not really talking about developing any currency. So let's listen to this video and I'll come back and give you more details.
I'm curious about one of the major BRICS goals, the BRICS currency. Around the question of de-dollarization. So this is really something that intrigues me. What is the agenda of the BRICS currency?
Is there any document of BRICS which talks about the BRICS currency?
We read the newspapers. I mean, I'm not saying that it's in your coming roadmap. I don't know about South Africa. That's a question.
No. I'm saying precisely because we had a number of people talking about the BRICS currency and so on. To my knowledge, there's never been a discussion about the BRICS currency. It does not exist.
Why everybody's talking about
it does not even exist on our documents, on our declarations.
So it's not a project.
It's what is there? What is there are two things. The first one is to say we must begin to pay each other in terms of local currencies. In other words, there's no, which we do. In my neighbors of Botswana, I'm not paying them in dollars, I'm paying them in rands. So they are willing to accept rands as well. So if I'm dealing with the Chinese, there's no reason they cannot accept my rand. All we're talking about is recognizing common local currencies when we trade amongst each other. That's the first thing. Another thing which the central bankers are dealing with is a payment system. So these BRIC currencies, like you, I read about it when
everywhere.
Let me just tell you, the Chinese have got a strong currency, the renminbi. And they've got ambitions of getting that currency being a reserve currency. Why would they leave that ambition in the interest of an abstract notion of a BRICS currency?
Okay, so this is good to know.
So now that you've listened to that video, so the BRICS aren't really looking at developing a new currency. They're looking at multipolar. So they sort of believe that, if you got your currency, you use your currency to trade with any members within the BRICS. Like South Africa will trade with using South African rands and vice versa, and China as well using their own currency. So they prefer this multipolar world, not just reliance on one currency. As we know, if you rely on one currency, just like the USA has been weaponizing the US dollar and punishing people and sanctioning them and doing all this stuff. So hence these BRICS members and plus BRICS plus members, they're thinking about having that diversity and using their own currency. So I'm just going to talk about the impact of this if it were to occur in Australia. We'll start with Australia and I'll go back to South Africa as well because this is in MzansiOz Diary. So in terms of the impact on this in Australia, because Australia is really tied to China. In fact, Australia, they trade more with China than they do trade with America. So if USA were to impose this 100% tariff to China, so that would slow down China's economy down, and that would actually reduce the demand for Australian exports, the iron ore, the coal that they actually the coal that they export to China. So this can affect Australia's exports revenue around the natural resources, and overall this can impact on Australia's economic health. And so the next thing that also this one, it can actually create a lot of tension as well, and can lead to about market volatility, and also you can dampen that investor confidence that people talk about, that when you have this kind of tit for tat, I'm gonna put 100% tariff on you. And so for China, if they actually import their products into America and there's 100% tariff, that can also, even though the American president thinks that could actually impact China significantly, but I think that probably could also impact Americans as well, because they import a lot of things from China. So China, what it will do, they just increase the price. The consumer will pay the price. If the 100% tariff, they'll put the price by 100%. So that means Americans are gonna buy expensive goods. And that can increase that consumer price, and you can see an inflation come up again. It can go the other way, because an increase in that tariff is going to be passed on to the consumer. Us, the people who are buying these goods, are going to pay additional charges. That if the price of the goods go up, inflation goes up as well. So it is no-brainer here. But anyway, for South Africa, this impact is really, South Africa, US is the second trading partners. The first trading partner is China. US is number 2. So this can impact as well, and South Africa significantly, around the mining agricultural exports, which contribute significantly to South African economy, and that can actually reduce the access of South African businesses' access to US markets, and potentially loss as well to revenue as well. So obviously for BRICS themselves, they might be thinking about, if I were them, the ministers of finance and everyone else, I'll be thinking about diversification. You need to diversify your don't put your eggs in one basket. Diversify and try to see if you can explore other markets where you only spend, you exposed to America by about this X amount, like 10%, 20% there. So really the impact can either be shifted to other countries when that happens. But if you are really relying on America in the next 4 years, that can actually have a significant impact for these emerging markets as well, which is really not good at all. So these threats actually can also, I think what also could do, these threats can actually broaden shift the global trade alliance from US tariff on BRICS can prompt these countries to actually think about, okay, we're going to trade now, let's stop trading with other 9 BRICS plus countries and shift and trade amongst themselves to reduce their risk exposure to American threat of high tariff. And that can also be a big problem as well in terms of how the global trading, how the countries trade amongst each other as well. It's a very important thing to consider. Another thing that is very important is this purchasing power parity. So the BRICS nation, their purchasing power parity is higher than actually the one for the G7. So it's 32.1% and versus the 29.9% of the G7. So the actually I think the reason why it's prefer this one is because it's actually give us more tell us more about things that comparison around between different countries and the purchasing, the productivity and the standard of living. So that's the one that most people prefer rather than the GDP, is this the purchasing power parity. So the BRICS already have a higher purchasing power parity compared to G7 nations. So I don't know, these threats, I think they're a bit stupid. However, we're going to enter the the world of stupidity in the next couple of 4 years. We need to brace ourselves for that. I thought Trump having all these people like Elon Musk and all of them, they would actually advise him and tell him that these type of things aren't actually going to work. But maybe he's just threatening them for no reason. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But this is another roller coaster for the world market of, these stuff that Trump throw out there without even thinking, without even having a thought about how this would impact America and the American partners globally as well, not just America, Australia. It's, Australia rely on, trading with China and other countries as well. So let's see how this is going to play out. It's going to end up to be for us. So keep an eye on this stuff around BRICS as well. So I'm planning to talk a little bit more about this, BRICS in general, and the stuff they're getting to do, about the benefits. So I strongly believe that the BRICS, they need to actually be moving really fast away from America. So nobody wants to be relying on just one person that's always threaten you. I mean, just imagine if you just having one bank account, just one bank to go and borrow money from. The IMF and all of them, they're all supported under this US sort of alliance. So moving away, having other method of where you can go and borrow money if you're a BRICS member or BRICS Plus, it's really beneficiary, because then you get to borrow that money away from IMF without any strings attached, without any trying to impose certain lifestyle changes to your citizens that they ended up, protesting, just like we saw in Kenya, where, IMF forced Kenyan, Kenya government to actually do certain things. And we saw that Kenya didn't like that. And there was a lot of protests and a lot of people subsequently died as a result of that. So you really, I think it's a good thing for the BRICS Plus to move away from US dollar and other IMF and all this stuff, and create other multipolar currency, multipolar world, lending places where people can go and lend and trade without having to go with this stuff of being, banned or being threatened and, being weaponized in some way, being told they need to live their life in a certain way in order for them to get certain money from America. They need to start right now and start planning by the 20th of January next year. They must be really good to go, because I think they're already doing this now. They're already trading using their own currency anyway. They're not really trying to create any new currency for the BRICS, so which is a good thing. Yeah, thank you guys. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. Until next time, I'll see you then. Bye.